Yeah, we're back in the shop, and the dollhouse has gotten nowhere. What has it been? 5 years building this thing? Okay, so what are we doing today? Trying to make some progress. That's what we're trying to do. Trying to get this thing sellable and out of my shop because it's taking a bunch of space. Today, we are putting the roof on the dormers and finally addressing the monstrosity that's supposed to go here. So I got a couple things set up for this video. Yeah. Oh, another note. Had a little crack here. I should have did one continuous piece, but I decided instead to do two pieces. So there's a little crack there that would not fill in with paint, and it would be visible and right in the middle of the whole dollhouse. So what you can do is get you some wood glue and some sawdust from your dustbin. Mix it together. I used a little piece of wood like this and a little scrap popsicle stick kind of thing that I accidentally manufactured. So you put a dab of glue in there, sprinkle a little sawdust, mix it a little bit. It should get kind of like an oatmeal type of thing. The finer the sawdust, the better. Blow the rest off that's not in the mix, and then mix it up till you get your oatmeal paste, and then just smear it in the crack. Some other things, like when I was doing weird angled finishing cuts here, like these little pieces broke off, so I filled that in too. And then later on, when it cures, you can just take a sander to it, and it's flat. Good to go. All right, so the roofs, kind of complicated. So let's talk about that. All right, so we got some math here. It's pretty scary, but this will answer the question that you asked when you were a kid in school of when am I going to use this. Get you some graph paper, keep it in your shop. It's a good thing to have. All right, so this is the roof that's going to go on the top of the turret. This portion I'm calling a turret, kind of like in a castle. Those little circular towers are called turrets. So we have 19.5, because I made this thing out of essentially scrap wood, just cutting things out when I started. So I got some weird measurements. So 19.5, that's this way, and 24 inches this way. I want to make this tall enough for a Barbie doll to stand in. So my floors, each floor is 16 inches. That's scale. I forget what the exact scale is. You can look it up. Look up Barbie doll scale, and it'll tell you. So our floor is like 8 feet, and this is like 16 inches for a Barbie doll. So to make it tall enough for a Barbie doll to stand in, because we want to make a little room in there, 16 inches tall, and I'm going to come in at 4 inches. So the slope is going to be 1 to 4. 4 to 1, rise over run. 4 over 1. 16, 4, 4 4s and a 16, right? So we got our triangle here, so we can figure out the length. This is going to be the sloping roof panel section. The length of this, a squared plus b squared equals c squared, comes out to 16.492. I like to use 3 digits because science. That pretty much rounds out to 16.5, which is really convenient. So I was very happy about that. Our plan here, we're going to cut panels basically at this width out of the dollhouse wall material that I have. So we're going to have 16.5 inch wide strips, and then we're going to cut them into quadrilateral with 90-degree angles, rectangles. And then we're going to cut the sides at these angles. I don't know if I quite figured those out. I might scribe them, but I'm going to do this side and this side, both the side panels, and then we can just scribe the front panel. Instead of measuring, you just put it up there and scribe it. Obviously, we're going to need a frame to nail to, so I made some frame pieces here. Note on that. You're going to have offcuts when you're doing stuff like this, left over from old frame pieces. save a couple of these. If you don't want to save a big piece, cut it down. Where this comes in handy is you can put it in your table saw and move the fence and then get the exact same thickness every time. So once you have it snug up against the blade, lock it down, and you can make a cut. I don't know if I said that in another video, but that's good. Another thing you can do as well for like this cut is you can eyeball where to set the fence. See that? We're gonna cut it right at the edge of that, so we're not wasting any material. So 15 degrees, oh, that's a good one. 15 degrees is this angle. And how do I know that? Because I didn't write it down. Watch this magic. So we have this line right here, and we know this line. Now it's approximate, okay, so we can have, I'm gonna get this as straight as possible. Oh, satisfying. Okay, so we can leave little gaps, right? Little gaps are fine. Here's a little gap, there's a little gap, there's a little gap. All this stuff gets covered in by shingles and siding and this flashing. Okay, when you put it on there, do I have a, you know, you can imagine this, that's gonna look horrendous with more shingles coming out. But when you cover it in flashing, it looks sexy. So that's what we're gonna do. So little gaps is fine. You can be off, you don't have to be exact. But here's a cool trick with the old speed square. So you try to line this up on your 90 right there, like such. And did I do it backwards? I did do it backwards. This way. This is the way you want, Matt. Ta-da! Like that. I move this. Chupa chupa, chupacabra. Put that down. Line it up best as you can. I did it, you know, with two hands and being able to put my eyeballs on it. 15 degrees. This is 0. It's a protractor. 90, 0. So that's how I got 15 degrees. So I got my saw set up 15 degrees. These things are not always accurate. I noticed when I'm grabbing this thing blindly, this thing gets all bent and cattywampus. If that happens and you want to make a semi-precision cut, this is a contractor saw, so it's for rough carpentry. Reset it to 0, take it all the way to the stop at straight up and down, 0. Lock it in place, bend this back to where it says 0, and then move it to where you want it to go. And then it's called zeroing. So then you can get a good cut. So we got our 15 degrees. So we want to got this all set up to make my frame pieces because we need something to nail our panels into. The goal is, let's go to the whiteboard, see if this marker even works. So we have our floor section. Let's kind of tilt you guys in the right way. And then we're gonna have our panel come down at 15 degrees. Kind of hard to nail through this. You need some meat and potatoes in there. So what we're gonna do is install a frame rail kind of at the similar angle so that you don't have any weird situations like this or like this. You're trying to nail in there without good surface contact. I like to put a bead of glue with my nails because it kind of helps. So I'd like to have a gluable semi-flat surface. What I do is I glue it and then I nail it, and that clamps it in place enough for it to cure. The glue will set up and it'll hold it in. So we have to have a frame rail there, and then later on we might panel this in to make it not so obvious. And then we'll do another, this will be 15 degrees up here for the top, and then we'll run our roof panel on top of that. So that's kind of what we're going for with the daily. Don't mind all these over here. That's from the boat. More on that in another video. Kind of sad. So that's kind of what we're doing. I'm gonna get that set up. I'm gonna cut those, but not yet. Not yet. So the next portion that we're gonna be working on today is these roof sections here. So this is kind of hard to measure up. Let's get out some pieces to talk about it. So you want your piece going this way to go straight across, but what happens if you do that? Then you're going to have a huge gap back here, and you don't want that. You want it as close as possible so you can hide it. So how do you send a straight and level line across there? So what my solution was, set this up the right way, is some of this is eyeball work, okay? Because I can't get a flat 45 section because this piece is on here. So you see that, make it parallel, okay? And then, I wonder if I can set this up with two hands. I'm gonna pause the video and set this up with two hands and then play again. All right, hold on. And go, check this out. All right, so we got our nice and flat piece of wood going down there, eyeballed off parallel with the roof at 45 degrees. The back of your combo square is 45 degrees, and this might be how you could use it. There's no set way to use it. There's only suggestions and ways that work and ways that don't work. So because that's at a 45 degree, I know that this angle going across is parallel with this floor, and you can see it's pretty freaking good. At the peak of the roof, I got it set on there. So at the back end of this is where that roof laser line would shoot across straight and parallel with the floor. So we make a mark there. Then scribe a little line across. Earlier when I had cut out this hole, I marked the center and drew 90 degrees up from there, so I knew on the line of where the peak would land. So here's that line, goes up, and here's the line that we just drew. Right there on the money is where the peak laser line should go. So now we want to draw a line from there to there. Boom, already scribed them out for the ease of cinematography. Cost me nothing because I promise rock bottom cinematography prices. Draw them all out. I did both sides. Another thing I did, these were kind of sticking out, so I took the sander to them to round them off. Kind of kept it parallel with this, so I'm getting the right angle so I can lay. I may or may not put a piece of frame in here, in which case I have the angle right there, 45. That way I have something to nail into. I don't think it really needs it. I'm gonna nail on here. I'm gonna send some longer nails through here. And then this, I'm just gonna nail into this roof. And that should be pretty sturdy for a tiny piece like that. If you're doing something bigger, like this section, you would want a piece of frame to go into, like I did here. And if you go through, don't worry about it. You're gonna have little nails sticking through. I do everywhere. My solution for that is going to be going back with one of those. Where is it? Where is it? It's on the wall somewhere. I just hung it up. There it is. Sorry about the window blinding you guys. One of these. You put a metal cutting bit on there, and it takes the nails right off the back. You're gonna have some like blowout in the back and uneven surfaces, but we're working with like construction grade lumber here. It's not fine cabinetry. You could do that, but it would cost an insane amount of money to build something like this out of, furniture grade lumber. So what we're gonna do when I'm done with this, I'm gonna get some paper and essentially paper mache the inside. So we're gonna clear up all the rough spots, like this crack down here. I don't want to see that when I'm painting, and these weird knot hole blemishes and stuff. So it'll smooth it out real nice, and we'll seal up the cracks on the inside with the paper, kind of like you do with fiberglassing. And like this floor, it's kind of wobbly. I'm gonna put a frame piece behind that and nail it in, or at least glue it in or something, and then seal up this crack with some paper. So that's how we're gonna hide the cracks on the inside. That might be a solution on the outside if you want to do something like that. So yeah, then once you have, back to this, once you have this line done up there, you're gonna take your panel, which I think I cut these out the last time I did this, just kind of to do some figuring, and you're gonna put it across here. How did I do that? Just kind of line this up. I think I looked at it like that. You know what I'm saying? Make those parallel. Little eyeball in it, just to get this angle. So once you have that lined up parallel, you kind of set it up like that, and then if I had a stand and whatever, that would work. So this line is important. You need this line so you can follow it with your scribe. Compass, protractor, divider, these are this thing. It's called all kinds of things. So you lock it into place, and what you do is you follow this line like that, and it gives you a repeated, there's a word for it. I can't remember the word. Look it up. There's a thing like a pantograph. It's, you can see it. Look at on the right hand side of the scribe. It's the same line, right? So you get the point. That's how I made this line right here. Obviously this can be kind of weird to work with to get in there, and you have to hold it at the same orientation. If you do like this, you pull it like that, you're not going to get the same line. So the same orientation while you're scribing. You're not going to get a precise exact line. You're going to get close. So this is kind of cool. It scratches the surface. So I don't know if it's going to show up on this video. Right. Let's see if we can focus. See the little scratch line? See, it's not straight. Not straight at all. But that's what a straight edge is for. So you take your straight edge back across it, make an approximation, scribe it. Then you have a line that you can cut on. So you take that to your miter saw, set it up to whatever angle that is, make your cut. Then you take your piece and you fit it. If it's not right, figure out what you did wrong, make an adjustment, make another cut. Once you have that angle, then you have the angle. It doesn't have to be your final piece. Don't make the cut on your final piece, make it on a scrap piece first. This I found on the floor. When you're doing stuff like this, you're gonna have all kinds of scrap pieces. Keep your scrap pieces. I have a cabinet here with scrap pieces. Some of them are oddball cuts. Some of them are things like this. This was a clamp that I made out of wood for my biodiesel unit. If I ever want to make a 4-inch PVC to a 4x4 clamp again, here it is. I have a template. Different sizes of wood. Some of these are offcuts from the Dollhouse. Here's another one with some scrap pieces. I organized them by thickness. Up there, some little tiny scrap pieces might come in handy. Instead of using cutting it off a big sheet every time, if you can reuse these scraps, it kind of saves money and time. These things, if you have scrap offcuts of these, you need to make more of these all of the time. These right here, save a piece because now you have your template to make your router grooves out of. So that's what I'm working on today. The next video will probably be setting this all up. I'm gonna have to deal with an issue here. You can see it's kind of warped. So we're gonna lay the frame, clamp it on, put the frame on, lay a bead of glue, nail it, like clamp it to bring it straight. Glue, frame, clamp, nail, so that this comes straight. That's what we're gonna try to do, because it kind of looks weird. I want to put some ornate buttresses in here, possibly something to fancy it up a little bit. Probably just go across the front. I'm more worried about the front view than the side view. This isn't a full-size house, so doing little detailed work like that is going to add up over time. Kind of excited about doing that. It's been a long time thinking about how I'm going to do it. Initially this was supposed to be a monster high dollhouse, so I was going to try to incorporate bats and stuff and like the scroll work. But I got the jigsaw up there. I was going to buy a scroll saw. That would probably be more ideal, but space and money, and the jigsaw kind of works a lot better for cutting out panels. So we're going to do that. I got my little coping saw over there. That's probably going to help. Yeah, because we got to do a bunch of that. Here is probably going to be some scroll work as well, maybe some scroll work buttresses there too. Another thing that's going to help a lot is drill press. You don't have to get a giant one like this. They have those little benchtop ones. Those are limited as far as how much downward force they can put before they bend this way. You can see some videos of guys like overusing them. It kind of does that when they're pushing down. So I wanted a nice big one that I can do like metal work stuff on. That's going to come in handy for drilling out holes, and then I'll go back with, you'll see. Yeah, I'm going to make some progress, and then probably make a separate video of just the progress of like how I'm going. I'm not going to do like a step-by-step type of a thing, but building this thing is going to be the next venture, and putting these roof caps on. And then I'm pretty sure I made a video on the siding, the shingles. I'll check that. If not, I'll go through and we'll talk about that, because there's going to be more shingle work and these complicated weird angles and how I'm going to flash it all in to make it smooth and clean looking in the end. I don't like that this isn't one continuous piece. I think I'm going to pull that out and then use this to scribe a longer piece that fits. So there's one clean piece in there. And I'm probably going to pull that off anyways. I might pull off all of this flashing around here, because I'm thinking I want to do shingles and siding first and then flash. That way I'm not forced into some weird situation where I want to put two different pieces of flashing. I'm not sure yet. Yeah, but it's going to be kind of complicated doing that in this area. That's why most of this thing is done with shingles and siding, except for this area. I wanted to get all the complex stuff built and then attack that, and then use this easy parts as like research on how to do the basic parts before I have to do the hard parts. So that's it for this video. Stay tuned. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. I love you guys. I'm out.